Hey guys, this is Echo Soundworks and you're checking out some tech tips on Sonic Academy. So in this video, we are going to be looking at how you can better emulate electric guitars inside of synths like Silent, Massive, whatever it may be. So ironically, the most important part about getting a good electric guitar part for an EDM track isn't necessarily the sound itself or how it's made or what synth it's made in. It's more important with regards to how you perform it and then the effects that you put on it. With that being said, let's play this little demo right here. Alright, so this top track is the one that we are focusing on. This is an electric guitar sound that's actually coming from Silent. So we're not going to cover how to make the sound in the synth, but here it is without the effects. Okay, so like I said before, we're not going to recreate the sound because you could do the same type of sound in Massive, you could do it in a lot of different synths, but there are three things you really need to focus on when trying to emulate an accurate electric guitar inside of a synth. So the sound has to be kind of like an electric guitar. That's not hard. Now, the hard thing is actually your chord voicings. That's the first thing that you need to be aware of if you're trying to create an electric guitar part for your track or for an EDM track. Because if you play, this first chord that I'm playing is an F chord technically. But if I play an F major, the notes are F, A, and C. If I just play that on a keyboard and then go up to A minor, which is where I go in the chord progression, and then to G, that doesn't sound like an electric guitar at all. The first problem is you're not voicing it like an electric guitar. So this is the hardest part about emulating electric guitars on a keyboard actually, is that when you play a real guitar and you strum an F chord, you're not going to hit in order F, A, C. You would have to actually finger pick that individually to hit it. You're going to hit other notes. You're actually going to hit F. If you're playing a full bar chord at F at root position, you're going to hit F, and then you're going to hit C, and then you're going to keep going up from there. You're going to hit the F octave, and it's going to build out to 6 strings. Well, with piano, it's laid out obviously differently than a guitar. So that's the first problem that most people have, is that the chord voicings just don't sound like a guitar. So again, if I play this in root position, doesn't sound like a guitar. Now, this sounds more like a guitar. And I play guitar, so I know when I'm keying in these MIDI notes, when I'm playing on the keyboard, I kind of think, okay, this is how it's actually played on a guitar. Now, if you don't know that, you kind of just need to trust your ear if you're going for a guitar sound. But I will say this, pretty much no guitar chord is going to be like straight up root triad on your keyboard. So if you're playing like C, E, G, that's not going to be a guitar. So play around with it, avoid the root positions of any triad, and you'll get closer to the sound. There are resources you can look up to actually get the individual notes online and tablature and that sort of stuff, but you can just Google guitar voicings, and there's a bunch of cool resources out there so you can see how to voice them on the piano. Now, there are other instruments out there like contact libraries and things like that that actually voice things how a guitar would. So for instance, I am playing A minor chord on my keyboard, which is A, C, E. And you can see here that it's trying to, this is Elia Efimov's contact library for Telecaster guitar. It's trying to voice it like a real guitar would. So if I play a C, the script in this is not letting me actually hit, the notes in the order that I'm playing them on my keyboard, and that's really helpful. But again, you don't have that luxury on a synth, so you kind of need to know your way around a little bit of the chord voicings for an electric guitar. So that's the first tip and trick. Get your voicings right. Now, the second one is think about how a guitar is played in the real world, because it's a physical instrument that exists. You have to strum it and all that sort of stuff. So if you play a MIDI progression, like even if you get your chords right, so let's look at these individual notes. I'm playing F, I am playing C, and then A above it. Now, if I just start playing a progression like this, it still doesn't sound like guitar, even though I've done the first step, which is I have the proper chord voicing. Well, the problem with this is when you strum a guitar, think about it. You're holding a pick in your hand and you're pushing on the strings. When you strum, there's going to be time that elapses from where your pick makes contact or what string it makes contact with. In this case, it'll be this F note, and when it hits this A above it. Well, when you play a keyboard or a piano, you pretty much hit the notes all at the same time. That's just how you play that instrument for the most part. So that's another reason why they don't translate well, or an electric guitar doesn't translate well on a keyboard and in a synth. So what you need to do is once you play your progression, so here's the progression as I played it, where everything's just quantized to down, to each beat that I was playing it. Go into your MIDI editor or your piano roll, and then you're going to stagger the notes. So let me make this bigger so we can see. So for instance, this red one is, if I'm thinking about playing the guitar, I'm strumming down on this. I'm going down. That's something we're going to talk about in a second. So that's the first note that I hit. So it's right on beat. Now you can see I'm zoomed in really far right now. The remaining two notes in this chord, they're kind of staggered. See that? Because this would be the last one your pick would actually hit in real life. So this guitar pattern that we played earlier, I'm going down, up, down, kind of nothing, and so on. So the way you can tell it's down, up is if I'm playing a real guitar and I strum downwards, the first note that I'm going to hit is going to be the low note, and that's going to be usually with the most velocity or the loudest. And then when you strum up, it's going to be the highest note. So I was following that pattern in the piano roll. So that's something else you can do to add realism to your synthesized electric guitar tracks, is to actually think about strum patterns, because a guitarist never just strums straight up, just down, 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 which would be like this. It kind of would be like a very amateur guitar move to make if you're just all strumming down, 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 or up, 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 up. Which leads me to my next point, that if you're going to try to do, or you need to do rather, the strumming patterns of maybe down, down, up, or down, up, or whatever it may be, that you need to have a velocity sensitive synth. If you don't, it's just going to be all the same feeling, and you're going to lose the electric guitar feel. So in Silent, the way to do that is to set up a velocity, miscellaneous velocity macro here in miscellaneous 1, and then choose volume AB, and then turn your volumes down on the actual oscillators, and it will be velocity sensitive. But that's a huge, huge part to getting this, because a guitar is extremely velocity sensitive. The harder you pick, the louder it plays. All right, now finally, processing and effects. I like to roll off a bit of the high end and kind of make it sound like the middle pickup. That sounds like the treble pickup right there. If you guys don't know what that means, or you don't play guitar, there's different pickup positions, which tells the electric guitar what pickup to actually use to actually create the sound, because there's usually 2 to 3, sometimes even 4 in any electric guitar, but they all have their different tone. The treble pickup is usually for lead playing, the middle is kind of for rhythm, and then the last pickup, if there's 3, that pickup position is usually for like jazz and kind of smoother tone stuff. But I like using this EQ where I cut out a little bit of the highs, boost a little bit of the low mids. It gets a good, pretty good sound. And then to take it into a whole new realm of electric guitar isms, throw on an amp effect. I would prefer to use a guitar rig or something third party, but I wanted to keep it all in Logic for this tutorial video, just to show you that it can be done. So there's an amp effect, and then finally, to bring it back into the EDM world, I like using an instance of the LFO tool to kind of help augment what I was doing strum pattern wise with some pseudo sidechain compression. You put that together and you get this. All right, there you have it, guys. Some tips and tricks on how to get better sounding electric guitars from synthesizers. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. Like I said at the beginning, I'm Echo Soundworks. I'll see you next time.